Good morning from Edmonton, everyone. It's Hanifa Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today, I thought I would talk to you about a concept that is quite big. I think a lot of these concepts are quite big, but you can use your own mind to see whether it is or not for you. But it's this concept of something called Neti Neti. And I thought I would start first with the idea of wisdom. So, wisdom is something that is within all of us. Yet, many people, many of us, work mostly with our mind, and we think our mind is wise. And yet, our mind is clouded by a lot of information that we've learned over the years, and sometimes from society. There's a collective intelligence, and collective opinion, and collective beliefs, and then we call them our own. That, no, it's because of my experience, and experience is part of that intelligence. Or we'll say intellect rather than intelligence. So intelligence, I would say, is more in line with wisdom, yet the intellect is more about what I have learned, what I have learned, what this mind has learned. I is the wise mind. So not the mind, even if I think that I is a whole different category. It's wisdom, it's truth, it is love. And this is the space of knowing rather than knowledge, which is in the space of the mind and the human life experience. So I thought I would talk about a few different quotes here, and again to speak about this idea of neti neti. And some of you might have heard this term already, but let me begin with the whole way that we can understand ourselves, because that is what lets us come back to wisdom. And we all have this energy within us. Excuse me. This first quote I wanted to share is by Gautama Buddha, and it says, "Wisdom makes light the darkness of ignorance. Wisdom makes light the darkness of ignorance." So remember, we are trained in our society and through life that intelligence brings light to ignorance. And intelligence does, and then intelligence is in that wisdom space. But really, we have confused it with our intellect, and our intellect. And again, remember, these are just words, but if we're able to differentiate what I have acquired, what this mind has acquired, is then what I have acquired, as in divine energy has acquired what this mind has acquired. And this mind relates it to that's wisdom. Yet, when it's been a lifetime of learning, and we've noticed in our own lives that things change. Oh, what I knew yesterday is kind of different than what I know today. What I felt yesterday is kind of different than what I felt today. We can see that intellect changes over time. Wisdom does not. Wisdom is steady. Wisdom is pure. Wisdom cares for all too. The intellect cares for itself and the things that are closest. So again, wisdom makes light the darkness of ignorance, and ignorance can be very limiting. And of course, when we say the word ignorance, I think we think more than limiting. We've got lots of judgment about that word too. And yet, if we recognize that we are working from that space mostly, this is how Buddha actually decided to work on things, to try to understand things that he was ignorant about, or he discovered that he did not know something about. And so then I came across another quotation. So this is Buddha, so we can understand it's Buddhism that has learned from his wisdom, or the wisdom that he shared. It's all of our wisdom, but he shared this wisdom in his own particular style through self-reflection and understanding. And this is something that we can all do. So the next quotation I came across is by Osho. And Osho, you might know, or maybe you don't know, is more in terms of Vedic tradition and perhaps leaning more towards Advaita. So this quotation says, "The state of witnessing is neither cold nor hot. It is neither happiness nor unhappiness. It is neither dark nor light. It is neither life nor death. The Upanishads say, neti neti, neither this nor that." I find this very interesting because, again, yes, the Upanishads said this, say this, and Buddhist texts say this too. And very interesting for us to recognize that when we go deep into any spirituality, and that includes religion, we start seeing the oneness of us all. And that oneness is the space that this witnessing happens from. So this, imagine that when we've got divine energy, we're not judging, though in duality, in religion, in many traditions, it's very much about, well, you're going to be judged. So are you doing good or not good? And then we're also reminded to use your own conscience for what is good and what is not good. There's not someone telling you in this time what is good or not good, and our conscience will. What is our conscience is also being fed by divine energy. So then I come back to this whole idea of neti neti, neither this nor that, because in terms of, even if we think of God from a duality perspective, we can see that there's not really, oh, that's so good or that's not so good. It's that is what you're doing, period. This is what you're thinking. This is what you are speaking. This is how you're behaving. And then we have the self-correction that we can do, whether we choose to do it or not. God doesn't really care that way. Wishes the best for us, and we wish the best for us, and we would wish the best for others if we're coming from that divine space. And then we would stop judging ourselves. We would just correct and improve, correct and improve. And that is a divine energy. I came across, I'm sorry, I should have had more water this morning, but I came across another quotation by Rinpoche. And so you might know this familiar or be familiar with this name too. And it's also very common in many Buddhist texts. This is a great author, and I believe a monk of many traditions, or many generations, a name that's been familiar for many generations. So this says, light must come from inside. You cannot ask the darkness to leave. You must turn on the light. And this is again this whole idea of divine energy. Darkness, to judge it in others, is darkness within ourselves. To see the light within ourselves is then to see it in others too. So this is an interesting awareness that one can have, and yet there's work to be done in this, because it doesn't just happen. It is, you can't just ask it to leave. So this awareness of darkness is again a reflection of darkness within ourselves. We're all the same. So in that, it doesn't matter which form it comes in. When something is not bringing light, bringing a lifted energy, being not a judgmental energy, judgmental or opinionated or difficult is all heavy energy. Heavy energy is dark energy, and all of us carry it. Yet where do we choose to work from? If we choose to work from light energy, uplifting energy, positive energy, it helps ourselves and everyone around us. And this is the state of witnessing too, because again, in witnessing, one just knows what is within and around. And the only place we can correct or improve is within ourselves, and then how we act in this world. So then I thought I would make sure that you know again this concept of neti neti and what does it really mean. So here I found this great quotation, and I don't have an actual reference for it, but I believe Wikipedia said the same thing, and you'll find that a lot of Vedic texts, whether from Buddhist tradition or from Advaita tradition, will say the same thing. So this is what it says. Neti neti, a Sanskrit expression that translates to neither this nor that, or not this, not this. Neti neti is a form of analytical meditation that helps the individual understand the nature of Brahman. Remember, Brahman in Vedic tradition is also related to God or related to the void. It's the source of everything. So source could be another term. The light could be another term. Truth could be another term to relate to Brahman. God, again, how many dualistic traditions would term God. This is the same space of Brahman. This is, so the individual understand the nature of Brahman. Brahman is absolute reality. So absolute reality, can you imagine? I'll talk about this in a second. By first understanding what is not Brahman. Let me read this quotation again because I moved too many ways in that quotation. Let me make sure you understand this or hear it fully first before I help you understand it. It says neti neti, a Sanskrit expression that translates to neither this nor that, or not this, not this. Neti neti is a form of analytical meditation that helps the individual understand the nature of Brahman, which is absolute reality, by first understanding what is not Brahman. So again, if we think of Brahman is God, or the universe, or the void, or light, or truth, or goodness, or love. All of this with capital letters is what is reflected by the word Brahman, same as what would be understood by the word God. And this idea is this self-analysis of this mind understanding itself. So this body, this mind, this intellect, and the energy that's working through, that's flowing through. So as I understand this, I understand what this is. I can understand the good and the not good. And yet, that is neither this nor that. And this is the understanding that comes from this Neti Neti reflection and introspection. And this self reflection is so useful, again, not only for ourselves, but for the world. And as I mentioned, it is practiced or encouraged to practice in Vedic tradition of all sorts. So I thought I'd read one more quotation to end this video. And I know Neti Neti is such a huge concept and is also one of these things that needs to be practiced, to be experienced from a humble space, because I am coming through a humble space of me. If I am coming through a prideful space, that's not who I am. That's the space that it comes through. Divine will still come through that. Divine provides energy to anything this form chooses. So this I thought was a really wonderful quotation from a book that I read many, many years ago, but I'd love to share it with you. It's called The Tibetan Book of the Dead. And I believe there's a Tibetan Book of the Living and Dead, and you'll see very similar ideas in this. But here's a great quotation. It says, "Remember the clear light, the pure, clear white light from which everything in the universe comes, to which everything in the universe returns. The original nature of your own mind, the natural state of the universe unmanifest. Let go into the clear light. Trust it. Merge with it. It is you. It is your own true nature. It is home." And it is. And anyone who practices meditation or prayer regularly, when we know the purpose of this is to unite with the energy that is already flowing through us, it's a very different space than when the intention or purpose is, please give me this. When I'm in the please give me this, when this mind is in the please give me this, whether it's health, whether it's happiness, whether it's a home, whether it's a travel, whether it's friendship, whether it's relationships, whether it's love. When this mind is choosing, and I am seeing that this mind is choosing this, and I would be seeing that this mind is not giving this, because you cannot receive it without asking for it unless you're yourself giving it. And this is a deep concept. So again, this Neti Neti, I am not asking, I am giving. And this is understanding that giving and receiving comes at the same time too. So when we say not this and not that, it's not really giving and it's not really receiving. It just is. It's all of it. Now, this mind has the choice of where do I choose to, this mind, choose to work from. Today, I hope that we all choose to work from the space of the divine, which is giving and receiving with love, compassion, integrity, humility, and kindness. I wish you a fantastic day ahead, and I hope you remember, transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great day, everyone.